Welcome to Zen in the Art of Movies, number 3. We're investigating, exploring, pulling apart the cotton ball of Laurel and Hardy as a demonstration of passive-aggressive behavior and the vicious cycle that we all get caught in when nothing we do is any good. We just keep repeating ourselves. We think we're doing something different, but it turns out to be the same thing. When we're caught in a pattern, we know something's wrong, but we don't see it because what we see is new. So the pattern always appears in a new form, and we think it's new, but it's a pattern. We can't see the pattern because we think what is new is new. What's new is not a pattern. A pattern is what's old. A pattern is Groundhog Day. It repeats itself. A cycle. A vicious cycle. But we can't see it because our consciousness, can only see what's new. Form. We don't see yesterday's form. What we see looks like new form. I mean, it may be in remember it as being old, but the sense of reality is that it's fresh, it's new. Even when it feels old, it's new. So we don't see the pattern with consciousness. Because consciousness doesn't see the subject or the observer. Consciousness only perceives form, what's observed. Consciousness is only aware of things out there. Consciousness is not aware of the observer. So in a pattern, the observer is caught in a cycle with the observed. And it keeps repeating itself over and over again, and it accelerates. Like when you put a mic in an amplifier, it goes wah, 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 pow. It starts off as a little bitty wah, but it begins to accelerate wah, 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 until it blows the amplifier up, because the amplifier can no longer contain the explosion, the acceleration of the wah-wah. At some point, the system breaks down. At some point, you have a nervous breakdown. At some point, you get divorced. At some point, you shoot the other person, or yourself, or the world. But at some point, unless the pressure of the wah-wah is released, there's going to be an explosion. So, we're looking at a very profound pattern here, demonstrated by Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy's every movie is a ticking atomic bomb. It starts off with a dance, la 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 la, and it begins to go tick 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 tick, pow, explosion, and everything's destroyed. And Hardy never gets it. He always looks at you. This is a fine mess you got me into. Now, who's he talking to? It's about Laurel. We think he's talking about Laurel. Laurel got me in this fine mess, you see. But he's looking at you. You. You see? You, the viewer, me, I'm the one that got him in this fine mess. We are a participant in Laurel and Hardy. We are a participant in the passive-aggressive behavior. We are a participant in the vicious cycle that goes wow, 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 until there's an explosion. Now that explosion has two ways to go. It either goes to violence, which is when the amplifier can no longer hold or contain the wah-wah, it has to explode. Destroys everything. Or it goes to creativity. So what would be the creativity of the amplifier? Well, just metaphorically speaking, for fun, we could say that when you play music on the amplifier, you use that pressure in a nonviolent, productive way. A nuclear reactor. When you got a fissure in the atom and exploding, or a division in the atom that cannot be contained, it becomes a bomb. Or you contain it in a nuclear reactor and you use the explosion in a productive way, in a gradual way, you see. So this goes to our everyday life, you see. We have to find, and I know we all see it, the catch-22 or the Groundhog Day or the mic and the amplifier in our own life. And we find it by seeing a pattern. Now the problem is we notice when we're in a pattern, but like Hardy, we blame Laurel. See, Hardy blames Laurel for the destruction of their projects, their expectations. So Laurel and Hardy is a destruction of expectations. They expect to clean the chimney or to move the piano upstairs, or they got some project and they expect it to be completed so that they get respect. But it always ends up in destruction, total destruction. The car is totally destroyed. The house is destroyed. Everything is destroyed. And Hardy looks at you and says, "This is a fine mess you got me into." But we think he's talking about Laurel. No, he's talking about me, the viewer. The mess is created by me. We create the pattern, the atomic bomb, the vicious cycle that destroys everything in our life because we don't see the pattern. If I see the pattern, I see through and through that I'm guilty, the other is guilty, I'm innocent, the other is innocent. In other words, in a relationship, both parties are innocent and guilty. There is no, he did it, I'm innocent. Once you say he did it, I'm innocent in a relationship, you don't see the pattern and you just continue the pattern. You just kick the pattern down the road like a can, you see. So seeing the pattern demands, if you want to end the pattern, that you see your participation in the pattern. But what consciousness does is that it abstracts me from the pattern of life and says, I'm innocent, they're doing it. He's doing it to me. I'm innocent. I have good intentions. I have good intentions, you see. So I'm innocent because I have good intentions. So all the pain I feel is caused by Laurel. Laurel did it. See? Hardy never sees himself as doing it. And Laurel, and his only way of getting out of this pattern is by sabotaging Hardy. So Laurel sabotages Hardy in the hopes that Hardy will see that he's a bully, that he's participating in the passive-aggressive pattern of Laurel and Hardy. Okay, subscribe to my videos and share, and let's kick this can down the road. What are we going to talk about next?